forgot to unmute the mic. How are you all? Welcome back to another Keeper Draft. Um, wow, um, I was almost late to my own stream. The traffic today was hell. Let me just figure out if the music is playing. Hopefully not too loud, not too quiet. Classical problems with technology. How are you all doing? Welcome. So, today we are gonna have a bit of a longer retrospective on previous session, and then we're gonna just put some things on the paper, see where it goes, discuss a bit. I don't really have an agenda for today. As you can see, the background is different. I have finally found a space where I can stream and just leave the setup, just jump right into it every time I want, which is amazing. So yeah, what should we do first? I need to get my notebook, but let me just see. I have now another camera. Yay. And I can actually, I think I can show you my studio and we can see where the magic happens. Unfortunately, sound is not working yet, but you see here, it is a humble setup. I will leave you here for just a bit to get my stuff. And spoiler alert can go, we don't need a spoiler alert right now. There we go. So, Mod Podge. Let's see. And we're back. Honestly, I just wanted to try that out, see how that works. Maybe maybe we're gonna do some, like, I don't know, book stuff, checking out stuff, unboxings, or whatever. So it's good to know that we have that option. But yeah, you saw where the magic happens, and we are gonna have a little renovation soon. Hopefully, now that I have a proper job, we should paint the room and do, like, you know, I'm thinking olive green type of situation, and then do like XPS foam in like rock panels, similar to the octagon that Runehammer did. I really like the, you know, carved out things from stone. Maybe I can show you how that would look. Let me see. Octagon Runehammer. Yeah, if we can zoom into this picture and screen share. Is it working? No. This is something for later. Why is it not working? Always problems with the screen share. I really have to figure that stuff out. It's let's see, window capture, and then, wow, so many buttons. Chrome. Now who knows which thing will be selected. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You should be seeing this now. So you see these like things on the walls. Yeah, that looks really cool. I want it. And the color, we thought about going with gray or something like that, with like a bit of green there, but we'll see. So, yes, let's look at the Tome of Knowledge. We'll have to move the mic away a bit. There we go. So much stuff. Where were we? Okay, I have... Oh, this ended up here. I should return that to the player. Our compass, you always want to know where north is. And I've seen this from House DM. House DM, I'm not entirely sure. And these are my notes from the last session. We're gonna go over that. Yeah, dungeon with lots of humidity. I will add some moss. I was thinking of doing like proper moss. There is a way, like, you know, that moss that like falls down, but we don't have enough space. Even now, you saw it when players are sitting down and I want to, like, you know, move from the room. It's like, you know, just too little space for 5 players in the room plus GM. It's crazy sometimes. They're completely crazy. Okay. So, we're gonna jump straight into session recap. Yeah. So if you watched the previous stream, you know that I had this idea that we're gonna, well, go over these things, like get done with all the quests, then Tolona stuff will happen. Had some reminders that you don't see because of the thing. Let me move everything. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're trying. The setup is a bit different. I need to find a longer USB cable for this camera here. Then I can move it and, you know. So, yeah, I thought like Tolona is gonna happen. We had some reminders, and then the calamity is gonna happen. And this is where I made my big mistake. So let's talk about that. First of all, my players went into, well, they were in their fort in the no man's land, a bit like 7 days of riding from where Tolona is, the capital. And what happened was I wanted to give one of the NPCs a bit more character, and I had like quotes that he could say to each of the players. As always, I suck at like improvising dialogue on the fly, so I prep that stuff. And Akiros is an NPC from the Kingmaker module, well, Adventure Path, and yeah, he was kind of the only one who survived from Staglord fight, and they were treating him like their prisoner slave, and I really wanted him to feel, you know, more alive, more, you know, not he's not a mindless bandit. That's what I wanted to get across. So we started role playing, and I said, okay, the players are around the fire, and that letter that we wrote the last time, there was a crow that got it, and or a raven, yeah, a raven just flew in and talked to our druid and left the note, and I took that moment to make Akiros like stand and come to our druid and like start telling him stuff. Maybe the first mistake I made because other players were kind of still planning out what they're gonna do, and our druid is not, I mean, he is playing a character who is like completely disconnected from like human stuff. So yeah, he didn't really like care about anything except the temple of Edrasil that we mentioned. So all these other things, they kind of just flew past him. I think some of the people heard it out of character, just like I saw them looking towards me for a second there, but I don't know if it had the intended effect. So why that happened? Well, every time we start, I get all weird with NPCs, you know, get a bit of stage fright, I get a bit nervous, so I think I just took the took the biggest bite at the beginning, and I couldn't really get it across, roleplay it properly. So after that happened, they got the note and they were like, "Yeah, let's go to Tolona." So the undead thing on the bridge, they had a quest to drop the Staglord's body into a river, and the undead that was he's basically haunting that bridge because Staglord killed him, and he was like working, dedicated his life um, to this bridge. So one of our players just decided to spit fire and burn the undead. And now he's plagued with nightmares, and they gave him a status effect, like Exhausted One. But I roll for every night, like we see when it will bite him in the ass. So that was a little interlude, and then this part, what I didn't expect, like, yeah, we did all of this. People were happy that they're expanding to another place. They have bad memories of the outpost. They wanted to move. And with this, I would align where I put Oleg with where Oleg was supposed to be in the game. So I also gave them the overview. They talked to Cass, and they asked for permissions, because that in the last stream I wrote that letter, and one of the sentences there was, "Come get your permission to roll in the no man's land." So they got really suspicious, like, "Hey, wait, we don't really, like, we need permission, but why would we want a permission from the kingdom if it's forbidden and other kingdoms will be angry?" So that was a bit of a, like, what are you guys doing? You're expanding into no man's land? I thought that's forbidden. Do you have a permission? And I said yes. Kassen said yes, that's a knight that is leading that initiative. And my players were really suspicious, so they asked, "Who gave you the permission?" And on the fly I said Elise. Elise is the, I could say, love interest of our gunslinger, so it was like, oh, she did it. And she is, if you don't know, like a diplomatic person in the capital. So they were suspicious of a lot of things. They went to this crazy potion maker to also, like, do they finished the quest. They went there to, like, check in with him. They got the Shambler juice quest, just a thing in passing. And yeah, that all went pretty well. Then they went to Tolona, and they split. Some went to the Aldori Tower. I didn't do the kingdom meeting. That was just hinted upon, but I didn't do it. We did have the hints again of the apothecary being in chains. Then we did say that the wizards of the city are not there for some reason. Dead animals were appearing around the city. Like, we were slowly, building up atmosphere to actually get something big to happen. Our cleric's father, who is also like, what do you call it? He is a minister, let's say. So he had a conversation with his son Dorian, like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why are people being missing? What is happening with the wood giants? Again, we are ramping up the tension around this. We want this to be, the moment where everything, like, the crescendo of the session. We didn't interact with the Thieves Guild. One of the hunters returned and said, they're coming, and they, like, got him inside. And there was a really cool scene where people were gathering around the church, and our sorcerer went there, and he's called Zar. Zar went there, and he told people the only way to repent for our sins and help the wood giants is to go plant some trees. So he just took a bunch of people and they went outside and planted trees. And when this hunter came and started yelling, "Oh, they're coming, they're coming." Well, the guards wouldn't let people that were panicking inside the city, so there was this whole thing where the sorcerer, he's kind of like a divine sorcerer, so he was also like, let's pray to the Mother of Love, and people really started praying. So we had this epic setup, and it is like Attack on Titan rumbling. The trees of the forest started to come alive and walk towards the city, and it was pretty cool. Like the whole intro to that and the music and everything, it was pretty freaking cool. Um, our druid became a cat, went outside the gates, jumped on one of the wood giants, managed to like reason with him, but he saw that their eyes were blue, as we said. And the idea of the encounter was like I drew some stuff here, but I thought about it and I really wanted it to be like we had 3 timers. We had one timer for when the next wave of wood giants would come, because again I procrastinated my getting familiar with the troop rules, so I again did it with just a bunch of enemies. We had one timer for when the little vine tentacle thingies are gonna appear, and when they did, I put them next to the tower, like they're attacking the tower. The treat in this encounter was 2 ballistas on the tower that were dealing a lot of damage. Like I really used the heavy ballista stat block, which is like 7d12 or something of damage, but they had to be reloaded. And yeah, we had some guards on the walls, and I explained to my players, this is just a zoomed in place, you know, where your battle is happening right now, but you know, around the city there's more things happening. Big mistake. And as I made a battle map. That's what I tried to show you previously. Let's harass ourselves with screen capture again. Yay, screen capture. Is there preview? WhatsApp image? Yeah, there we go. And that is invisible. Oh my god. Display capture? Okay, then this. You should be seeing this. Are you seeing this? Yeah, you are. Okay, cool. You can see on the table I made a map that was kind of, you know, accurate in size, but this map was actually huge. It had houses and things around, and I was really hoping that that there will be people around. And here they made a pretty, you see, like good barricade, and these were the ballistas here, so you can see there. So yeah, these are the 3 timers. One was for the wave, one was for the vines, and the third one was like how long they have to survive. And yeah, that was the setup. Now let me just take this away. Now, okay, the giants, the first time the ballista fired, the giant like caught the arrow. The wood giants have the ability to catch stones that are thrown at them, but he like caught the ballista's arrow and threw it right at it and hit with an amazing success. So the one ballista was destroyed right away, and it was cool and memorable. My biggest, let's say, problem that I had is I'm used to, well, I've spent a lot of time playing narrative games, and I do get kind of tired after a while when encounters are happening. So especially when you have like tons of different actors and things are happening, and you know, like every round is basically half an hour at least. Even when players are ready and they know what they want to do, 5 players, everyone does something in 3 minutes, that's like already 15 minutes. Then we do the NPCs. If there are like, I don't know, we had 12 actors in total, so we had like 7 different NPCs that wanted to act. And with that, you get to like 20-25 minutes. It's crazy, especially like you have questions about the rules and you check some stuff, and you know, um, it's fine. I have nothing against it. I just think I'm biased towards, hey, let's get the story going. And I completely forgot. I was tired, you know, after work, and I completely forgot how freaking amazing the Stag Lord fight was. So my idea was, okay, let them slowly approach the city. The players are trying to push back and slowly failing. Maybe some of them fall down, who knows, and then they breach the city. That was the idea. Then inside the city, I would deploy these battle nuggets that we did, which were... Did I put them somewhere else? Yeah, there. I'll just take everything out. So battle nuggets were like kick a house, parts fall on family, they yell help, you know, like getting players to throw their attention towards something else. They take like the train going through the city and like just smash it, and there's a potential hidden bomb inside one, and like stuff, you know, like crazy stuff that could happen. And at one point another adventuring party would show up. Those are all the NPCs that I never introduced, that are from Kingmaker, and it would be pretty cool to have them appear. I'm like procrastinating that appearance for a while now, and I really wanted it to happen. So basically, it was supposed to be this epic fight that lasted. What I did at some point is, they were really focused on, wait, we cannot fight them, so there must be a puzzle here. There must be something that we have to figure out. And they were focused on that. When I was walking in the room, I showed you like a little thing with like leaves. That's the prop we made on one of the streams. And yeah, that little thing, they were so focused on that little thing. I think that was from this part here. And they were like, okay, bandits had a curse. We destroyed the little thing, the curse went away. Logically, it would apply to wood giants as well. And I didn't really think of that. Like, yeah, sure, that's one way to get out of this, but what could be the thing that, and why would it happen? Like the calamity, why would it happen right now? So I decided, like, you know what, there is a little item that I gave one of the players in the last session, and that was like a little bean with a little sprout coming out of it. So I was like, okay, maybe that's the object that they need to destroy, and then the giants would go through this, you know, they become statues, and just the no man's land becomes like wider. And they were really focused on finding a solution. At one point, this is my biggest mistake, I thought, okay, they're probably getting bored of this fight, you know, like no one is falling down, they're retreating constantly, and we're just like exchanging blows. They're even like probably gonna kill one of the wood giants, so you know, what could we do? And I started hinting. I hinted, hey, there's a quest that you took, like the Thieves Guild told you to go to that potion seller. The potion seller then told you to gave you the ability to harvest essence from Daddy's video, Mystic Arts, I think. And now you've finished that, but the thieves also told you, hey, our enemies have the wood giant essence, so why wouldn't you have it? Of course, my players forgot about this, and after a bit of reminding, the gunslinger character, who now has like a scar on the hand and can pull the essence out of fancy enemies, he found like a ball of magic, and when put in a jar, it became a little, you know, bean with a sprout, with a sapling. So I thought, okay, this is, you know, showing you already have this item, this is the essence that our enemies had, and now you have this. Our enemies gave you this thing, gave it to our sorcerer, reminded him of his goddess of, love, and he brought it to Tolona, to the capital, and boom, the calamity happened. And it looks like a master plan from our antagonist. So I kind of hinted that, destroy the thing, but my players are really, really, really against using the knowledge they have in the real world for their characters' decisions, which is amazing. And they were like, okay, now we know what we want to do, but everyone is in different places around the battlefield, so we can't communicate this, and everyone has a different piece of information, like with the Staglord fight. And it was about midnight, and people said, okay, let's wrap it up slowly, let's go home. And I really pushed for that sapling to be destroyed, the one that the sorcerer had, not the one that they extracted. But you see, if I had to explain to you which sapling it was, you can see the confusion that I caused with this. Because I really wanted to wrap up, let's wrap it up, let's have the... And they turn to statues, and butterflies show up, and, strange plants that are not from this realm start appearing in the ground, hinting towards the no man's land being bigger. Oh man, I kind of asked for the inspiration token to be spent to give me excuse to actually telegraph this in a very, very, very straightforward way. Big mistake. The fight ended very anticlimactically, and they destroyed the sapling with an axe. Everyone's froze, the butterflies and the plants sprouted, and yeah, cool, sure. After that, one of my players, the fighter dwarf, his character's name is Rick. These are all nicknames, but yeah, just so we can talk about them. Well, Rick told me that, it's better to have a fight that lasts 2 sessions and is epic than to cut it short because of a fear that maybe there will be no next session. People will move, stuff will happen. I'm always in this fear that our campaign is not gonna continue. And then I figured out for him, a fight that lasts 2 sessions is epic. I also have players that don't agree with this statement. So what do I do? And how do I fix this? It really left, a lackluster, oh, this thing happened just to happen, type of feeling. Even though, we were building, the whole session was going towards that. Cutting it in the middle of the fight, taking a photo of the battlefield, or we don't even have to take a photo, we just leave everything there, you saw how it looks. And just return to it. Horrible. And yeah, then I asked others what they thought, and I got some mixed feedback, so I would like to write down this feedback. Let's see who likes what when it comes to my players. Who likes the fights that are, going to be longer and more in-depth? Who just wants to roleplay? Who is in between? What can we learn from that? What can we provide? Because I think I've been too biased in this case. I mean, I've spent the last more than a year designing a narrative game and playing a narrative game. I think I've just forgotten what a good fight in Pathfinder can do. I haven't been on the other side of the table for a while. So, yeah. Excuses. Anyways, we should analyze this and figure out how to fix it. So for preparation in the notebook, I want to just make bullet point reminders for myself. Every time I get so convoluted in designing what people are gonna say, who they're gonna meet, these are once in a while scenarios. Now I want to go and improvise much more. I don't want to know anything that will happen. Just want to know, in case they reach some people, what these people would do, what they would say. And if we're gonna have an encounter, figure out with what all we don't have to figure it out actually. I just need a reminder, throw an encounter in there, because I will probably just avoid it. And why avoid it? I think like when we have the situation where, you know, we're in the story, everyone is immersed, and then we have to stop and do initiative, and we kind of do it pretty fast, honestly. It's not that big of a narrative break, but it is a narrative break. And even like descriptions are kind of a narrative break. This is what our player, the sorcerer, the literacy guy taught me. Like descriptions and all these things are kind of narrative breaks, so, or breaks from narrative. So you have to be careful with that. That influences pacing. If you start describing something for too long, people will start doing some bookkeeping work. It's like when you're on a meeting and when irrelevant to you, you return back to your work. Let's return this here. Alright, so let's see. Let's try to get the feedback on first in a messy way, then we're gonna structure it a bit. I will need my phone for this to remind myself what was the feedback. So let's write their names in order. So we have Dorian, we have Uchita, we have Zar, we have Sar, we have Rick. Okay. So it's not gonna be this clear cut as I'm trying to make it, but let's... gathering feedback is extremely hard for people. Okay, so what Dorian told me. He said, I'm fully story oriented. So, story over combat, but epic fights are good. He also told me that, and this is an interesting topic for us to discuss, roll more dice. Let's put it there. I told you this is gonna be very messy. Then we have, let me just find him. We played on Thursday. Okay, there it is. Wichita the Druid said, I think the encounter was not bad, and it carried the story, but the fights in Pathfinder are too long. They could be shorter without a problem. Players become tired after a while. I'm always up for more sessions where we chat and do lore stuff. I think fights should be shorter and more formal. We should have encounters, but we can vibe them. Vibe encounters, you heard it here first. So, story over combat, shorter fights. Okay. Zar didn't really tell me anything, but I know he's story over combat. But so let's put Rick. Epic fight better than Deus Ex Machina. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, all the things here make sense. I don't know his stance on story. What they all have in common, he thought Staglord fight was amazing. He thought like the Staglord fight was amazing. He wasn't there, so he didn't experience a cool fight still. Then Zard, well, he is the co-designer of Redmark, so he is story over combat. He struggles a bit with the mechanics, and I can't really tell. I think I really think I'm biased here. Like, if I would grade this, like, say, story... When I say story, I just mean, like, sessions that are more, you know, let's go do things than encounters. I would probably say that Dorian is, like, both sides. Wichita is here. Zar is probably here. Rick, I would say, likes a good fight, and Zar is typing on WhatsApp, so let's give a guy some space. We'll see when it arrives. But yeah, I know for a fact that our druid cannot hold his attention for long in an encounter. Dorian is amazing at it. Zar can't. Zar is amazing at it, and I think Rick is amazing at it. So we have like two players that are really kind of struggling. And I would put like myself. Me, I'm also struggling. And I think that's 3-3 for attention. Another thing that I want to kind of think about is... No, wait. Typing. Like, when does the fight happen? That's something that we should like think about. When? As always, I'm just writing my thoughts on a piece of paper, and then we're gonna try and get some sort of verdict out of this. When I say when, I mean in what time during the session. What is in my mind right now is, okay, I see where this is gonna probably go, but at the end I will probably end up with a balanced situation. Like, hey, both are good, you know, and that could mean that I just have to end it when I see a good fight coming that's gonna be longer. Like random encounters, I would usually cut short. We had a situation when we had a nymph defending some trees, and there was a bunch of like woodcutters, and they got rid of their like main guy, and the rest were like, "Oh, don't look at us. We were just doing what he told us." So we cut that fight short, and it was a good cut. The fight that I'm talking about now with the wood giants was a bad cut. Imagine how better it would be if I described the rumbling and I said, that's it for today, guys. That would carry stuff, you know. But we just met, like we were playing for not even 2 hours at that point, you know, and we met pretty late, that's why we had to cut it, but imagine. And then I say, okay, we can have another session whenever you're ready. Like, you know, I don't know, that cliffhanger would be very good. I could have introduced some padding in the meantime, like maybe people start returning from the forest and, you know, and the characters are helping these people, and then we like you pad the session until that point where we cut it. That would be cool. That's the solution. But I'm trying to understand what they like as well. Even if it's like, maybe I have to stop saying like, share and subscribe. I am still trying to understand what their preferences are. Okay, we have Sar. I think it really depends on what the encounter is. Taking into account that the fight with wood giants was more story-based and things that were supposed to happen would be cinematic and show us a bit further, a bit like deeper lore in Tolona, how people are reacting, how the government is reacting, what are they doing to protect themselves. I think you shouldn't have cut it short because of the thought that maybe it's not engaging enough. On the other hand, fights that don't have anything to tell us about the further development of the story and boil down to number crunching, they can be cut down with your input. Honestly, I like Pathfinder combat much more when people know what their classes do and what they can do. What a lovely job at Czar, live on the stream. But I also think not every combat is important. Overall, I think if combat has a resolution that's more than you kill them, it shouldn't be cut short. There you go. Wisdom. So yeah, he likes fights that are, you know, as the situation like with the woodcutters versus the wood giants. I think there he is mostly he loves good combat. Yeah, as I thought, it is really. I know this sounds very. Of course, people came and they are coming every week to play Pathfinder, but I really needed to hear this. You know, it is like, imagine you spend a lot of time with people that just like story, your players. You would get a sense that, and I think that is the case. I spend, like outside the game, I spend the most time with Vucheta and Saren, and there you see, like, there we have we're all leaning towards story, like just role-playing more. When I say story, I mean role-playing. We're leaning towards role-playing more, and then I kind of don't take into account encounters. Interesting. So what I've learned: big encounters, cliffhanger, and we have them next time. Do not we can... Don't do big turn at the end. That is the biggest thing. Cut it short if no story to offer. You see, this is one thing. Also, I wasn't aware that they were really interested to see how Tolona would respond. So definitely a note for me. We can put it on one of the papers. Note for me for next prep. Flesh out how Tolona would respond. Very important for them, then it's important for me. Cool. Another cool thing that I got from Vuchita, the druid, is, you know how I do narrative nuggets, basically just like random encounter table, but it's not really an encounter, it's a thing you can see or a thing that can happen. He told me, and we played a lot of narrative games together where the meta, you know, that the world building, the commentary, everything is both done by the players and both by the GM. It's not uncommon for players to just think of a place or a thing in the middle of the game. So he told me, let's do player-driven narrative nuggets. Give us a list and we can deploy them when we see fit and we decide which ones happen. I apologize if my spelling is off in some places. And also I apologize for mixing capital and lowercase letters. Yeah, don't even ask. Good, okay, some things were figured out. Now, what we can do to make this all make sense more? Well, should I turn the spoilers on for that? Yes, I think so. I think we should say that this was intentionally cut short. Like, whoever was pulling the strings never wanted to breach Tolona. They wanted to expand the No Man's Land, which is true. That's why we had in our prep a moment where a big arrow interrupts the fight and they all turn to wood. So we would say, like, Tolona prepared, but it wasn't that bad. Still, now things are growing around Tolona. Now it's one of the kingdoms in the No Man's Land. The No Man's Land is becoming bigger, which is cool, and also kind of covers that part why it was cut short. Maybe we can probably say that the influence of whatever god was there. Nah, that's too cheesy. We go with the sapling was given to you to be broken, you know, something like that. And cheesy, yes. Does it make sense? Also, yes, I think it can be useful. Now, I thought a lot about the curse. If this is not Narissa's first kingdom that is being conquered like this, if we know no man's land is growing, and we know that she has to conquer a number of kingdoms, then this probably has a name. Like the curse, it should have a name. And name. The whole thing, like the curse, the expansion of the no man's land, it deserves a name. And I think that would make it pretty cool. Like, the wizards come back and they were also assaulted. They say, oh, we were fighting our own battle. This is history repeating itself, blah blah blah. And we see where that leads our adventurers. Cool. Oh, I can't believe an hour passed already. I am super tired today. My mind, whew, that's onboarding to a new job for you. Do we do the prep now? Let's see, let's write yeah, we need to write more stuff down and then see all the things that we want to put in the notebook, like always. That means we're going into now. Now I have to hide my little look at this stream deck, the cheapest one in the world. You can click stuff. Bow, 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 bow. Amazing. DIY is the best. Cool. Let's go. Oh my god, I'm so disorganized. This is amazing. I do it like this at home as well. So this is these are reminders. Let's take that, put it there. Amazing. We have a page. Flip it, turn it. Cool. Curse name. Important. Player Nux. That's that. We figured out that. Consequences. Our player that spreads love decided to, when the wood giants sent the people covered in yellow to be like executed, he said yes. So consequences for that. Yellow people. Definitely some, or at least like someone should say something to him. There is planted little saplings that he planted. It could be, oh, this looks like yeah, we add a bit of green there. Now it's family friendly. He planted stuff, maybe fast growth. You know, influenced by fame magic. it would be cool to see like the consequence of that story, of that forest growing. How Tolona responds. Well, we can do like Tolona response. We already had something written, and we're gonna come back to that. Then I have another reminder for a later game that I'm gonna put here, and then I'm gonna put that into Obsidian, because I always keep my like cool stuff to remind myself in Obsidian. So let's do zombie gnomes. They sent a party of gnomes to their keep, but they forgot they had graveyard of undeads behind it as a, you know, a security measure. So all those gnomes are done, and now they're also there. Maybe they encounter them sometime. Maybe they decide to loot them. Who knows? We have that engraving that our cleric has. Also a thing I should be remembering. Okay, I promised my player temple. I guess, I'm not sure how that's spelled. I will give him the location. That's what I promised. Yeah, druid. Nightmares. We're not gonna let him off the hook for that, and we can still use that to push some information into his head. So, yes. I told him that they are gonna get potion from the potion guy. Have to just check the table so I don't do it later. Okay, this is done. This is done. Okay, the tower. Towers destroyed. This is my kaboom icon. War. Those are notes from there. Let's see, I have some more notes here. Where we kind of have this, this is gonna be explained here. Troops. I need to look at troops. We can do that together now. And wood giants will probably, the rest of them will probably need or want to negotiate a deal. Like, they were under a curse, they don't want it to happen again. They're angry at people, but they are willing to cooperate. Well, I'm not sure. We will let the players do the talking, the characters, and see if they convince the wood giants to be on their side or what's gonna happen there. Okay. And let's check my phone for notes. I did do some. speech and dwarf. Blacksmith will give a quest to Rick. So I collect it all in one place. I know what I'm supposed to be doing with my time. Cool. Well, my idea for this, and we're playing on Sunday, my idea for this week is to think about these things, but just put them as bullet points in my notebook. I don't want to go into, you know, the usual stuff. I really want the next session to be mostly improv, like as much improv as possible. That would be the best, because when I plan stuff out, I tend to overcomplicate it, to make it a lot much more convoluted, and when I improv, well, in a strange way, I don't look at anything. I look at my players more, and you know, I'm. Oh my god, that's loud. Out of nowhere. Okay, we keep it low. Yeah. When I improv, I look at them more, and then even some strange locations and people, you know, I feel the room, I feel the pacing much better. So, bullet points as reminders, just focus on, hey, these are the bits that you need to present, and that's it. That would be ideal. No quests, no. Like, there will be a quest, but I won't write, like, hey, this is the reward, this is the. I will just send them somewhere. Like, if you want to be the best, I don't know, go slay a skeleton dragon and gather its essence. That would be cool. And I have a dragon graveyard in the region, so cool stuff. Of course, I will make that sound more fantastical. But I don't think I'm going to do this today. Let's see, let's start prepping the page a bit. See what we can do there. So these two are gonna be glued together. Oh, so we're here. All right. Oh my god, what is this music? Yay. And we kind of have well, mostly Tolona. We're not gonna go into many things there, so we can probably just do one big, no, like one big square in the middle, and then let that be Tolona, and then reminders and little things are gonna go around it. I think that makes perfect sense. So let's do it. Maybe even like with freehand, it doesn't need to be, you know, let's make it like so. Some strange shape is being born on the page. There we go. I can. I'm always fascinated how much these pages soak in the color and everything. The other thing. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's put that there. Oh. Okay, we have more notes. Wow. Back to the drawing board. Okay, what do we have? Their their guy, Borko, one of the bandits. He in prison. Oh, okay, these are old notes. Yeah, these are old notes. That's why they're there. Okay, we don't need it. Cool. I was afraid there's more to be done there. Can I get a black Sharpie, please? This needs a little cap. You know what Runehammer always says? Give your lines 2 passes to give them personality. I do sound like a complete Runehammer fanboy, constantly quoting his work. But what can I say? I really find it helpful. By the way, he has also, I think he's one of the first who filmed the way he does session prep, and if you go and watch that, he even has the same notebook. That's where I saw it, and then the internet did its thing and recommended it to me, and how can I not? I'm really getting the vibe here that this page should have black borders to fit in with this vibe. Let's... I did too much talky and not enough worky today. Too much talky. Should have done more. Because how things stand, this prep will not be done today. Although this is my second stream this week. With this setup, oh my god, streaming is so easy. I can do whatever. If you have any ideas, like what we should stream, that's also completely valid. Even seeing what I'm doing down here. Let's put it like that. This is shaping up to be an interesting one. We'll see how this goes. You know the drill. Always have a piece of paper to protect the page beneath. I'm not going to sacrifice my index cards, so it is what it is. I've also thought about retconning the fight, saying, oh no, we were just tired, forget everything that happened in the last 15 minutes of the fight, we continue. But I think I only did it once, and no one even remembered what it was, because we were really tired, we were pushing it, like, I don't know, it was like a 7th hour of play. But for this one, I don't think that would be a good idea. Because everyone remembers. People actually, like, they don't want their choices to be messed with. And also, if I do it now, well, I can do it, you know, whenever. And that's not a good habit to have as a dungeon master. Some games rely on that stuff. But for like a classic Pathfinder type of deal, I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, if your players are up for it, yes, that can be done, but they really need to be very good at not abusing that stuff. I wouldn't think, even for myself, that I wouldn't abuse it. There must be proper line drawn there when that is okay and when it isn't. Even the black on this piece of paper gives me some ideas, like it is dark stuff that wasn't on screen, so to say, was dark. People are gonna be sad because of that. I think on the previous page we did have something along those lines. We said, spoilers, days of mourning, ceremonies to the graveyard, players as heroes or villains depending on their approach. Elise returns in tears and hugs Sarah instead of family. Family is visibly upset, and the wizards invite them to propose the kingdom. Yeah, Pretty standard stuff already. Oh. I saw there was something wrong with the stream. Hopefully that's not an issue anymore. And also, why is this? Okay, never mind. Cool. How do we call this session? I think something poetic. Example. Let it be. With a very strange wobbly font. We'll leave this space here for some associations, like what the mood is like. A closed eye and a tear drop, maybe. And anger. We're gonna put Space King mouth here. Grrr. So it looks like a worm, but I will add little eyes there. Now we know it's anger, sadness, tears, anger. Cool. That actually helps me a lot. All right. From what I can see, now we can group these. Green is things that don't require immediate attention. Now this can be fun. This doesn't require immediate attention. This doesn't require immediate attention. Mechanics wise, troops, let's not do procrastinate anymore. Troops will get their index card so I can reference it even at a later time. So let's see what archives of Netis have to say about this. What are we looking at? We're looking at YouTube. Fantastic. That's what we want. We want to be looking at that. The web. Spoiler can go away. These are not spoilers. Even better if some of my players watch this and figure out how that works. All right. Archives of Netis. What happened? Some kobolds and stuff. Pathfinder 2E. Troops. NPC Core. Is that a new book? Running troops, customizing troops, routing troops, designing troops. Holy moly, this is a lot. Troops and skirmishes. Oh my god. Is it okay if I play a video of someone explaining this to me? Well, what can I say? I am technically a zoomer. My attention span is completely fucked. I need someone to talk into my ear. Yeah, let's do it. Let's search, wait, let's do incognito mode. Do you see the other window? I don't think so. Do we have to change that to the other one? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What a lovely thing to do. Remaster troops. There we go. And my savior, how it's played, has a video on it. Technically, what can I say? Like, I'm playing you ads on stream. I'm not even paid for this horrible, horrible thing. Oh my god.
Hello, and welcome to Troops in Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered.
Pause.
If your group
music.
is using the Legacy Edition rules, please see my original Troops video that is linked in the description. Troops allow a large number of individuals to function as a single unit. Mechanically, this has a lot of advantages. Rather than having to track 24 or more chairmen, guard squad.
Honestly, I know this is kind of me reacting to the video. I'm gathering crucial information for my session, so we're gonna do that because this is the time for me to play around with my toys. But I really, genuinely recommend Role's Lawyer and how it's played for like all things Pathfinder. Just these videos helped me so much. They helped my players understand what's happening and how the rules work. So please, if you're into Pathfinder, subscribe to these. But then again, if you're into Pathfinder, you probably know about it already. Let's write troops. Finally. Let's see.
Each individual member of the city guard is a medium-sized creature and occupies 1 square. But when a large group of them gather together, they may function as a troop. A fresh, undamaged troop occupies 16 squares like a gargantuan-sized creature, but not a single 16-square area. Instead, these 16 squares are divided into 4 2x2 square segments. If the troop is made up of individual medium or small-sized units like the city guards, it may be best to represent the troop with 16 tokens or miniatures. And if the troop is made up of large-sized units like mounted cavalry, You can represent each segment using a single large-sized token or miniature. But within the narrative, it's important to remember the troop is not literally 16 city guards. It's often many more. Each
Mm-hmm.
square is crowded with bodies, and the map, miniatures, and troop rules exist to simplify the mechanics of the encounter.
Okay, but that is for much bigger, much more actors. Is there anything that says like how many troops there are? Or is that more of like a swarm type of situation? Okay, we need to do some research. Wait, let's look at the troops again. They're similar to swarms in a way. An individual spider isn't a threat to a low-level NPC, but an individual soldier isn't a threat to a high-level PC. So what does that mean? Like they're swarms, but with bigger... Okay, I'm confused. We need to look at swarms as well. Aha, swarms are smaller. They're not divided into like squares, but they occupy a single space. Maybe they're a large creature, but they're like you look at them as a single creature. Let's look at an example. They don't have... I remember troops have these thresholds that when you reach them, they lose segments. I think with the swarm, it's just a single creature, right? It's a trait that an enemy can have, and they have immunity to things like grappled, prone, restrained. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So troops are the real deal when it comes to multiple enemies simulated together. 4 segments that are 10 feet on each edge and as tall as the member of the troop. Yeah, that's what how it's played said. This is not really what I was hoping for, honestly. Now I'm already thinking of, can we do this in a homebrew way? Do we have anything like let's see, troops? What we had? Customizing troops. Let's see. That running troops, routing troops. Wow, designing troops. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Oh my God, no, we're not going that deep into it. We are We want to see if it's possible to have a troop. There is a bird. I want to see if there is a way to have a smaller troop. There's like 60 enemies in a troop, you know, like a gargantuan creature sized thing that has, I don't know, a ton of people there. Yeah, cool. Maybe for guards, especially for guards, for like bandit swarms and, you know, for troops basically. But if I want to represent a situation where, I don't know, I have 10 guards, how do I do that? And this is customizing troops. Choosing the right troops. The troops trait can be especially useful as reference. We conceptualize troops made of combat-capable creatures. It's often useful to start by considering how an individual's abilities could scale up when many of them are together. Do they attack simultaneously? Troop level, movement, skills, armor, troop damage. Yeah, here we don't have... It's like the number is not even important. Because you're technically saying, hey, there's a lot of people here and they're divided into segments. Segment doesn't necessarily mean that there's a certain amount of people in it. And they're restricted together using... Okay, I think I saw here.
Easier for the GM to be the one who makes that call, because sometimes the abstracted nature of troop combat can logically declare that this segment be the one that's removed. However, it can't be removed because doing so would leave the troop in an illegal form of what happens within the narrative. As Valorous chops down the foes in front of him, also every time a troop is reduced to one of his thresholds, the listed value for that threshold becomes the troop's new maximum hit point value.
Okay.
Meaning, if the City Guard squadron was reduced beyond its first threshold of 50 and left with 40 hit points, and then received 20 points of healing, it would only be able to heal back up use long-term treatment on casualties or recruit new members to replace those that were lost.
Abstract there.
At 0 hit points, the troop can no longer function as a unit. At this point, the troop is defeated and its remaining members either flee, surrender, or are killed off depending on the troop's nature and the disposition of the players. We should also take a look at how troops deal with
not this. Movement.
City Guard squadron can spend one action to that segment. When the leading segment finishes its move, the remaining segments can be placed in any orientation that is legal and does not require them to move a greater distance than the leading segment. Troops can also spend
this is interesting.
As long as
can
it is
we apply this with smaller segments? Because they all move together and they attack as one mass, and if you're bordering this mass, you know, like what I am aiming at, what I'm trying to figure out here is, and what I thought troops would give me. I don't know. Let's put it here. Imagine a scenario where, I don't know, we have our players here, here, and here, and I don't know, we have enemies that are, let's say we have 10 enemies. You know, it's not unreasonable to think that there will be 10 enemies. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if this is on a grid, basically I would say that this is all like a blob of enemies. And as with these troops, it would be cool. Okay, these are maybe a segment. Then these are a segment. If they can have a different, shape, and like they are one troop, one thing. But the movement mechanic, the damage mechanic, I really like how you can damage, this segment, and if it is not in the middle, the hive game, yeah, like you cannot break the hive. Well, the same thing here. If you defeat, like you reach a threshold, well, you've kind of removed this part. If you have 3 or more, you can do damage there, but they are attacking all at once. And this whole thing, it has one in, like, it is a single thing in initiative order, which then again, it's like, hey, imagine all of these are actors. Why would I want to abstract this? Well, sometimes, like with bandits in a camp, sometimes it's cool, like this bandit is watching from this tower, and this one is watching here, and there is a trap here, and maybe a tent here. Cool, yeah, we have our encounter, but at one point, our characters create a fuss here, and maybe, okay, we have some archers that are single actors from here, but all the brutes will come in the middle. At this point, I would really like to represent them as a troop. Why would I have 10 different enemies that I have to keep track of in initiative order when I can group them as a troop, use Pathfinder rules, and then, have some rule of thumb how I would do damage and everything. I just don't like the idea of them being like a ton of different enemies. Like, I really want this to be 3 spaces occupied by 3 enemies, not 4 spaces occupied by who knows how many enemies. If this makes sense. This is proving to be much more difficult than I imagined. Let's have a look at...
Defend against incoming attacks. And they also may have resistances, immunities, and weaknesses, especially F2 attacks. Lower halberd saving throw instead. My advice for these moments is
Poznej ego jogurt sa 10 milijardi
I'm not gonna make you watch an ad. Let's let that be in the background. But they are always 16 squares. That's what's written here. Probably me sitting down and reading everything properly would help a lot. Quick skirmish groups, what does this mean? Is that like troop on troop combat? Aha, this is like a proper skirmish mode for Pathfinder. Like you have a PC and a troop behind them. Wow, that could be really cool. I really need to get into these troops more. Oh, sorry, my guy.
the questions that came up seem to stem from a misunderstanding of how do you target the troops and the segments of the troops with whatever effect, ability, spell, attack, or whatever you want to inflict upon that troop. And so I want an ability that is available to troops called change formation. I believe the text says that this is not given by default to all troops of all kinds, but if you have a military focused troop like a phalanx, then they might have other additional things they can do with this transformation. So I wanted to review these items with you.
Okay, these are just answers to the questions.
Hello,
so
and
basically,
welcome to Troops and
basically, it will need to be some homebrew. Real troops are gonna come in handy. We're gonna do real troops when. Oh, I hope you don't hear the background noise. We're gonna do real troops in the kingdom phase, kingdom mechanics, but this is gonna require some homebrewing. Well, I am too tired to do that today. We can hang out a bit more if you want. And then I would leave you with basically me just making a plan but not actually doing anything. Well, it's on Sunday, I have time. It was nice to sit down and discuss some things. Why not? Oh man. So, discussion time. Now that I have, started working again, and I really wanted this to be a video, but it doesn't look like I'm going to start filming at least for a while now. And yeah, at some point, like I crave making videos. I want to sit down, write a script, film it here, edit, all that stuff. It's good stuff. But it's not really possible with how things are going right now. I mean, writing a script takes me like half of the day, and making a thumbnail and a title, description, all that stuff takes me around the same time. So that's one day gone. Then I come here. Now I have this setup, so I could technically just sit here and do a video, but you know me. I enjoy those videos where I have a lot of cuts and different scenes and everything much more. Just me sitting down and talking, that's more of this type of situation. And I don't think that would be too fun to just film and edit. Maybe I cut these into videos at some point. But like it's boring. It's not fun for me to just sit and be a talking head and then edit that. Like the editing part really takes a lot of time. And okay, sure, you can say, well, just do this. But yeah, I don't want it to be on my channel in that format. Like if we're hanging out, we're hanging out. If I'm trying to put some wisdom on on YouTube, then I want there to be schematics. I want there to be cuts. I want it to be something that I would watch. Sometimes, most of the time, I end up with something completely different than I wanted to make, and that's fine. Like I really enjoy that process. But yeah, I don't see myself making those videos that I used to make for a while now. I'm gonna return to something for sure. The show I'm talking about, I need to figure out how to do that show. That would be insane. And I would love to edit that and work on that. But yeah, in the video when I quit my job, I talked about how I was burning out and I wanted to see like what is gonna happen in these 6 months, and it ended up being a year. I think I talked in one of the streams about this as well, but I really want to home in to a certain point here, and that is that I really needed it. Like the creative part of me really needed to be let loose to create stuff. And I think a lot of different paths have been opened, but I don't, like, I ran out of money to pursue those passions. So when I come back from a trip, I'm going to Egypt again for diving in about 10 days. So when I return, then, well, we are gonna probably return to writing Redmark, which, do you remember when I said, oh, it's about a year away? And this is gonna be 1 year of after I said that we're gonna work on Redmark. Last 6 months were tough, very tough, and thankfully it all resolved. And now I have to, sit down with all the knowledge and make some priorities. And the biggest thing that I've learned, let's talk about that. I started working in IT from a very young age. I think I was a kid when I went to, school for like kid programmers or whatever you call that. And I started working really, let's put some music in the background, at a really young age. And I loved programming. I wanted to make my own game. I worked on my own little worlds and rendering systems, and I wanted to make a game engine, and I had like 4 game engines that I made, and not that many games actually. So I've kind of made programming and IT and software development my identity. And I think we as humans try to find where we belong, what we are. And when you meet someone, you actually ask them, so what do you do for a living? And when you're not doing it for a living anymore, you start to ask yourself, why, who am I? You quit your job, you're free for the next who knows how long. Maybe you find another revenue stream, and you stop. You say, no, I was a programmer, and that really does something to you. So the number one, like the first, not maybe the most important, but the number one lesson that I've learned is life is still a sandbox, and we kind of forget about that very easily. I don't know, it felt freeing. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go work at a supermarket. I'm gonna do whatever work to survive. I just don't want to go back to, what I used to do, what burnt me out. And we're gonna come back to that when I was actually applying for jobs that are like supermarket jobs. But yeah, first, the groundbreaking thing was you're not what you do. You can do whatever. You can always turn a new page and start again. It's gonna be harder. It's gonna require a lot of work, but there's other stuff in you as well. So I would say that's the first one. The second one that I really needed is, like, I would say that my situation, especially in Serbia, is a bit special because I was not born in a wealthy family, but my family became wealthy during life. And our family business is blooming. We have a bunch of businesses, and this music is killing my vibe. It's called a relaxing music, calm music. What are these drums? Let's go to Nordic music. There we go. So imagine me being little, having everything that one would need. And then from that you start working in IT. I wasn't a very social person, and who could have thought it? I end up filming myself for the internets. But I wasn't very social, so I dedicated all my time to IT and programming, and I wanted to work with other programmers and see how that's like. Started working, and that was when programmers earned infinite amount of money. And in Serbia, like, to put it into perspective, at that point I think the average pay a person got was like 400 euros or dollars, and a bit more like $500, 400 euros by today's standards. And I would earn like triple that as a little junior. And imagine, like, you are now the wealthiest little kid in the block. So yeah, I kind of never developed a feeling for finances. I would just buy everything I wanted. I would go wherever I wanted, and yeah, I started living with my wife, and she's completely different. She is, calculating stuff, not spending, not buying even like things for herself that are not necessary. And I was just a shopaholic. I would come home from work and just buy stuff off of Amazon and smuggle it into Serbia. You know, I mean, all these books, you know, it's the best thing with me getting a pay now is I can buy more books. Nothing changed. I'm joking. Stuff changed. Stuff changed. I was dead certain that you can survive with like 2,000 euros in Serbia, which is for people from here. But of course you can. You're not living a very fancy life, to be fair, but you can survive, and we survived with much less in the last six months. So now, like I used to have anxiety when I had to take the public transport. I used to, you know, not like to cook. I never cooked a meal in my life until recently, like until, well, no, these 6 months ago. So, like I needed to, you know, I didn't have money to go everywhere by taxi. I don't have a driver's license yet. That's in the works. But at that point, no, I would just take a taxi everywhere. It's not expensive in Serbia. Like from one part of the city to another, like the whole city, you would pay what, like 25 euros maximum. But still, it adds up. And now I think I have a bigger respect for money, and I have a bigger respect for free time, for sure. And I figured out that I tend to fall into these like fugue states of creativity where I am obsessed with doing like one certain thing, like red mark, this or that, and I start gaslighting myself that the situation in the real world is better than it is. So I started cooking. That's not related to like that my solution is start cooking. No. But yeah, I had some realizations, and I think for someone out there, like there are other people that are my age. I'm 28 in a couple of days, and yeah, we quarter life crisis, you know. that shit happens. You start asking yourself, how do I contribute to society? What is my purpose here? You start getting crazy ideas to quit your job with a loan and then like drive your life into the ground, see what happens while writing a book, you know? Not even a book someone can read. Like, you know how abstract that is, for example, for my parents. Like, what are you writing? Oh, it's a book. Can we read it? Ah, no, you can play it. You know, it's strange stuff. So, I don't know. These are just some of my thoughts, and imagine someone who hasn't been here from the beginning of this stream has like an hour and a half of me barely drawing things in the book, talking about the game, and then just boom, out of nowhere, like life advice. Don't take my advice for finances. That is not recommended at all. But yeah, I think I figured out that the current job is just a means to an end, and I have a great group of people around me, and I really think that all the things that I wrote on my Discord, and I mean, content creators, we can promise things, but if this is not your like full-time job, then you can't really commit to everything. But you know, a little by little, I think we can pull off a convention, a small one here in Serbia. I think we can pull off Redmark. It will just take a bit more discipline and getting back into writing and playtesting that. We really needed a break. Like, it doesn't make sense to write a book and play that type of games all the time. It would be much more enjoyable for me now to write and work on Redmark while playing Pathfinder, because they are, you know, completely different, and I don't get burnt out on the setting. That can happen. You can get burnt out on a setting. That's why I don't understand how people can play just D&D for like years and years. Come on, there's so many different things to explore. But yeah, Egypt was the start of Redmark, and I think it's gonna be a continuation now. For those who don't know, Redmark is how would Danny put it? Just a little game I've been working on. You can wishlist it on Steam. You can't. It's a TTRPG. Set in 2055. It's modern psychological horror thriller mystery type of game with not really sci-fi elements, but you know, dreadful aspects of where the trends of today would be in 30 years, based in a city that looks much like ours, Belgrade, Serbia, but 30 years in the future and with a lot more residents, much bigger, like 17 million people. Yeah, cool stuff. What else was I obsessed with during that time? Well, YouTube was a big thing. I think I had a proper streak until I went to that festival. I was really into it, you know. Watching my video when I quit, oh man, I was so butthurt. The artistic thing was there, you know, but the rest was, oh my god, just bad. But yeah, and I also do think this streaming is like therapy, you see. I don't think I would ever watch a stream like this with someone rambling. Maybe when I wash my dishes or vacuum, do something. Oh, but yeah, not much done today. More talky than worky, but we hanged out, we looked at troops, figured out that there's more work to be done. It is harder to prep while on stream, to be honest. So I think I will try to do some prep in on the next stream. When could that be? Maybe I do like Saturday morning. Who knows? I mean, okay, let's be real. Maybe I don't prep anything. Maybe I just go full, you know, wing it style. Write some random bullet points on this paper as I wanted, but then we started talking, you and me, and we got a list. But yeah, more drawings, less direct, you know, ideas on the paper. Yeah, I could do a stream like that. Maybe we keep it short today and we keep it short the next time. And sure, if you have any ideas, like you would like to see me do something else, sure. This is the most time efficient thing to stream right now, so that's why I'm doing it. I tried to stream the GM Academy. That is something that I can fit in probably once a week, twice a week. It's really cool. It's a different take on what TTRPGs are. Honestly, not too excited for that. I'm trying it out, trying the format out. There are some topics that are interesting to me. I would like to really dive deep into like the maths and randomness and different types. You know, I don't want to get people into the hobby from the perspective of a D20 fantasy game. I really want it to be like, hey, this is the genre of games, but each of these games is a part of a certain genre of, you know, like horror action. You know, it has its own genres and it is a wider topic. It can be almost like LARPing, for example. LARPing is like adjacent to this. If we were just to stand up and act out what we are doing as characters, you get LARPing. Like, we are so close to this, so why wouldn't you? On that Green Dragon Festival, Hank had an interview where he told us about what he was running, and they were in this tower type of room. People, like players, were inside, and he would just have a board where, you know, armies or things are happening on the board, and the whole thing is people are just acting out things in the room as generals, kings, army generals, and they would have all these things press them from all sides. They would need to figure out a strategy to, you know, fix stuff, betray each other. It's like full-on Game of Thrones in one room. Is that a TTRPG? Like, the rules for dice and everything were made up completely. It's not a written thing. There is a write-up on Runeheimer Patreon somewhere. You can try to find it. But yeah, like, is that a TTRPG? I wonder. I wonder how that would play in my room, you know? And I want people to get into this not from a D&D standpoint, but from, hey, we're using our minds as games standpoint. Like anything can be a game. If like we used to make up games as kids, now we have so much more power and understanding in our heads. We might as well use it, you know. It can be really fun. Imagine a birthday party when everyone wants to play like werewolf or mafia. Like, people, we can probably do something much more fun. Like there are mega games, and you know, Shut Up and Sit Down, the channel about board games, they have a video on this one mega game in UK where like you can buy all the material you need from that mega games website. You can print everything. You need like 20 people at least, and if you have 20 people and you have a space for it, if you're like making a celebration, you can rent it out. Wow, man, people are not directly role-playing, but they are using the knowledge from the game to beat the game, you know. Their knowledge of real-world stuff is not, you know, they don't know what they're not supposed to know because they're divided into rooms, and it's crazy. It's like politics. Like every team plays a country and they're trying to stop an alien invasion, and the aliens are another team that's in another room. You need a couple of rooms for this. Very cool, and I would think, is that a TTRPG? I mean, people are like making a distinction of, hey, I am not a nuclear scientist or a researcher in real life. Maybe you are, but you know, you're not a country team there, and you're pretending to be someone else. You're making decisions based on a fictional set of situations that are imagined in a way. Like everything happens through discussion. There is a big board, but you know, discussion is what moves it forward. Discussion and dice. In that sense, where is the boundary where board games and TTRPGs like divide? Probably where you stop imagining that you're someone else, you're just a player. That character part is what sets it apart, I would say. So yeah, very interesting, and I would like to explore that more. Unfortunately, like that also takes time. Everything takes freaking time, and we don't have enough of it. Ah, man. But yeah, if you have ideas on content that would be fun to watch, I'm all for it. Because I think session prep, yeah, fun, but at some point the biggest problem is that you don't really have, you know, you don't really have the plot. You have to watch these streams constantly to know, hey, this is happening and this is not. You know, I mention a name, now I've mentioned the names of the characters. In the next one, maybe someone joins or someone rewatches this, and this is their first Keeper's Draft. What do they do with this information? Like, they don't know who Zar is. It's not like content that can be watched. It's not content that can be watched just like jump in, jump out. When I start prepping, what are you jump into the stream, you see me just yapping about some stuff. Again, I wouldn't stay. That's the whole idea. Then I would maybe consider this as a second screen content type of situation, but again, I talk too much for second screen content, I would say. I don't know, playing video games, like all the dungeon masters that started filming session prep are now doing, I'm playing this game and to get inspired. Again, I can do it too. Well, I can't actually, because I have this shitty little MacBook and not a proper PC, but okay, I will get my pay, I will buy a PC for that. Do I want to play video games on stream? No, I don't really find that appealing. Do we do live plays? I mean, my style of jamming is probably different. I mean, it is different than any others, and I think there's no two GMs that would run anything in a samey way. But again, who would watch that? If it's not, you know, I was thinking like doing it in Serbian maybe, because we don't have that content here. I don't know. YouTube seems too family friendly for our games. If you can't swear on YouTube without a proper disclaimer, or you can be like monetized and things, I'm not gonna tell my friends, hey, don't drink and watch what you say. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun, but they all want it, and that's the craziest thing. They all want me to do a live play, and they want to be filmed playing, so we're probably gonna do that. I want to do it in Redmark, because that's good material for that as well. But we'll see what happens with that. So I'm a bit lost. I want this channel to keep going, and I'm using it to just ramble at the camera now, but I'm not sure, like, what type of content would you like to see? Maybe, like, I would be down to do documentaries, like I did for vampires. That was a video that was in the making for a long time. And it took, like, a real road trip to go somewhere, film something, you know, it was very fun. But I couldn't do that every week, I can do that, like, once a month, maybe. Then this Egypt trip, I'm gonna be underwater for a long time, scuba diving, so maybe I can film something there. I had snippets, you know, I think I'm the only dungeon master that has a frame of me with the dungeon master screen underwater and like players rolling dice, and we had it for as a bit in one of the videos. Very cringe video. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not giving up on YouTube, not this easily. This is just like transitional content, and I will figure out something. It gets much easier for me to talk live, so maybe, well, who knows, maybe I join someone else's live play, and maybe we do like podcast streams, something. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, I rambled enough. I've talked your ear off, and at least I hope you got to know me a bit better, because I think that was really lacking. I think now that I'm tired today, I'm more myself than usual, so you see who Andrew from Barlow Keep really is. I like to think I'm a chill guy. All the friends in the comments say, nah, dude. Well, that would be it. Not much done. There are days like this. This is also a lesson for new dungeon masters. There are days where you start, you write your freaking title, and you just can't do more. But I will pack this all up in my backpack. We'll see. Maybe I do some work offline. I really have to eat something. I think that's also a factor. Eat, people. Live healthy lives. That's important. And with that, I leave you, and I hope to see you next time on Keeper's Draft, GM Academy, in one of my videos if that happens, and from my cravings it might, or in a live play. Take care all. Bye bye.